Okay, this is a video that somehow didn't record what I was talking about, but I guess I'm gonna go over again to be. I'm gonna be quick about it because I'm not gonna do a whole fucking. I only did 25 minutes, and 25 minutes wasn't captured. I think a lot of it could have been cut down, but either way, I'm watching a podcast and it's Dark from Danny Jones, and he's talking about, and this guy who deals with dark matter and stuff like that. And he spoke about the simulation theory. And I'm gonna be quick with this part because I'm going to use a bunch of things that are scientific based, not only scientific based, but you could attach conspiracy theories into it too, or fiction, science fiction stuff that maybe doesn't seem like in reality, but maybe close to our reality. Okay, he's talking about simulation and how you can't disprove it. This simulation you can't disprove it because it's programmed to it's programmed to say, oh, you're told that's why simulation theory, whatever the case may be. My idea about simulation theory is surface level is the simulation. Below, where all the matter is made, like the proton, nucleus, whatever, that's the material. That's the material world and the souls and consciousness and stuff like that. That's reality, and the simulation just covers it. So I think the simulation is our perception of our surroundings, or how we would want to picture our surroundings. Oh my god, there's so many information I gave in there. Oh my god. Anyways, I'm just trying to make sure. I'm trying to be quick, but also I'm trying to remember what I was talking about in that video and what I discussed and all the other possible things, stuff like that. Okay, I'm gonna go to scientific thing. We teleported. So I think. So I'm watching this guy and stuff like that, and I'm thinking about simulation theory and how my simulation theory is that it's what paints our reality. It's what colors that cook. The canvas is our reality, and what we paint on it is the simulation. And I think we could manipulate. While watching this, I think we can manipulate our reality, and that's when I start thinking several things, which is one is science about this matter. If you think about Jesus Christ, there's so much. Oh my God! I don't know why I didn't record the fucking noise. Oh my God! I have to do this shit over again. If you go to alien stuff and there's things where they talked about how these aliens were able to go through walls. If you imagine our reality, not the simulation reality that we see now, but our reality would be the way that's happening is they've tapped into exotic matter, which I'm going to get into, and or whatever the case may be, they tapped into that and are able to maneuver through space because they're moving through the space of reality and not the simulation. Well, we are maneuvering through the simulation, not through this. And actually, that was way better than what I had done, what I said before. So they're able to maneuver through our reality while we're maneuvering through the simulation. And they're able to do that because they are aware of whatever this reality, and they're able to maneuver it. And I would go to, as I mentioned before, that for some reason my camera didn't record audio. There's I'm going to different things in my head while I'm watching this. Obviously, aliens going through walls, and you could use anything from whatever, and how there are some people, some like you could use fairy tales and how those vanish and stuff like that. And you could just use all these examples that are science fiction, but now I'm gonna add the science stuff to it, where we had a light, and we teleported light from one place to another. We did that. We teleported a light from one place to another. And think about that. How we're able to, they were able to do that. How they could make one thing be right here and then appear right here. And if you go to the conspiracy side of you could use a Star Trek or the Manhattan Project. Star Trek, and how they could teleport one person from one place to another. And you think about that and how's that possible? Because you move one place from another, your body just essentially just disappears and recall. And you just think about that and you're like, it's confusing, and then in reality we did that, but with light. And obviously that's very different. But the fact that that we're able to do it just tells you, as we progress further, we're going to be able to figure out the teleportation. And if you take that in itself, where I talk about aliens just maneuvering through walls, because we're able to manipulate, how they were able to manipulate Rico, how we're able to just manipulate through space. And I'm gonna go there, but also you could go to the telepathic kids and how we perceive reality. Or you could go to other things like dyslexia, or people who could see colors and numbers, or who don't see colors, and how we perceive the world. It's different for everybody, and the fact that that's the case tells you not everything's as it seems. And there's an example of this is real. Is that, you know what I'm saying? You could use dyslexia, you could use people who could see colors differently, and who could see different things. These things are like, it's. And I also go to the thing where this person says, there's another podcast I watched, a 20-minute clip of this guy saying how we perceive things, and what we perceive is not reality, and how there's this bug who tried to lay eggs on this bottle because it thought it was a female bug, and he wasn't able to discern from that because of its perception of reality is so whacked. And then you could go to crows. I think it's crows. It could be all birds, but they could see the magnetic field of Earth. And I think the guy mentioned fish seeing the streams of whatever, are able to see the streams. The example would be Finding Nemo, and how the turtles find this little area where the water goes super fast. Basically that. I think that's what he mentioned. Anyways, this is like things where like our perception of reality changes from so reality might not be as it seems, and I think that's where we could manipulate reality, which comes to the other scientific fact, which I could be very wrong because it was a long time since I saw it. But the idea is, they said if exotic matter exists, it's space-time. I forgot what episode. I'm pretty sure I could find it. But it's space-time on YouTube, and it basically, a PBS program, basically said exotic matter. If exotic, I'm not sure if it's exotic. I think it's exotic matter, but if it's not, it's some other different matter called whatever. I don't know what the fuck it's called. I think it's exotic matter, but exotic matter could essentially, if it exists, it means physics is a suggestion, and it's a good possibility we are in a matrix, not in a simulation. Either way. Which then I started, because I'm watching this podcast and he's talking about simulation and all these little things I remember from when I watched that and this doctor who was either part of the telepathic tapes or was a bad person. Other little things, and I'm putting them all together in my head while I'm watching this guy talk about the simulation theory, and I'm like, the simulation theory might be something we could manipulate, and if we could manipulate it, then because then I start going to different situations that if it's that easily manipulated, why would it be basically the simulation theory as we know it, which would be we're a bunch of video game characters created in this console, and then we're just playing on. So what would it even matter? Why existing doesn't matter? Just put it through a simulation to whatever case it may be, just for entertainment or for a bigger purpose. I'm thinking that, right? I'm just so bad. I did like 25 minutes and just didn't record audio. Hopefully it records this audio. If it doesn't record this audio, I'm not gonna talk about it because I did not an hour. Anyways, basically, one of my thoughts is if it's rampant and it's available, then why would it matter? Why haven't somebody just fucked off and just came over here and said, well, as I'm putting things different now from what I originally thought as a first video. But anyways, why hasn't somebody come along, fucked around on us and basically just ruined everything at a step of a finger? And I'm thinking maybe it's because it could be magic. It could be magic in the sense that, it's deprived from some universal thing, and you're only limited to a certain amount. If you keep using it, you might be corrupted, or some negative thing might come to affect you in some way if you abuse it as much as someone would want to abuse it. That could be a case. Another case could be they figure out how to manipulate the simulation, and they decided, hey, we're gonna grab some souls and we're gonna put it on this. We're gonna grab the souls. We're gonna create this world, as I mentioned, a canvas, and there's a canvas, and they're gonna start training the solar system, and they're gonna try to create these laws and stuff like that, these stories and whatever, and then they're just gonna toss the souls, and then they're gonna put a perimeter around it, and it's gonna be, that's the simulation. We're stuck in that simulation. And they're playing God, or they're just watching this for entertainment, or they're just doing we're going to try to figure out something with these available souls and that are trapped in the simulation, and we're going to figure out, or whatever the fuck case it may be. It could be that. It could be, if we're trapped in this little. As I mentioned, there's this one the other episodes of whatever you want to call it. I mentioned there's a Gnostic Bible thing where they basically saying the universe is created by his demigod or something like that, and he trapped the like somebody and in prison in this little thing which would be our universe. And so basically our souls are part of this god that was kidnapped and stuff like that. And so if they were to, this is my theory, that I'm saying that the Gnostic Bible, that's the Gnostic Bible story, and I'm going off of that to say maybe they can't really do it as often. To say if they figure out the whole fucking week, they can't use it, because if they do, God might come around. It's like, hey, yo, chill out, or I'm going to recall, or this, or it drains them from their whatever the case may be. I'm just taking out that too. It's like, what happened if it's a limitation, and if you're just doing it, you're depriving from the souls, or you're shrinking the universe, even though maybe expanding. I'm just thinking off the top of the head. So there's like that, and there's the limitations, or maybe there's like, we're gonna just wait for this group of people to figure out what we figured out. Then they could just come around, fuck around, and just manipulate the world as we know it's in reality, or there's just a bunch of people that if you like souls, if you believe in God and whatever, and there's a spiritual world or heaven, stuff like that, and like, okay, we're this little ball of whatever, this creation, this universe, we're gonna just jump in here once in a while and trap us inside this simulation because it's fun, because outside of the simulation it's just us roaming around, enjoying life, or enjoying whatever that is in the spiritual world. And it could be that, but the whole thing is, I believe we're able to manipulate our surrounding, because our surrounding is a simulation. And the reality is we're souls maneuvering through matter. That matter could be electrons, protons, and all those things that create this place. We're just maneuvering through that. But because we're trapped in, we created a border. Then we're trapped. So we're trapped. Not as I said, we are trapped, but not other people are trapped. Other higher intelligent civilizations are not trapped, because they are able to maneuver through the simulation while we are not. And I just think maybe that's it. They're like, yeah, we're gonna fuck around, just enjoy the gluttony of sins that this world provides, that the soul world or the heavenly world or whatever doesn't provide, because it's not considered good, or it isn't as potent as it is when you're in a simulation, or where it gives you more diversity. It gives you more of a, maybe more sensation, because it's, I say there's a lot of, there, because you could go to religion route, you go to the scientific route, you go to, there's a lot that I could think of, and I'm trying to make sure I get everything that I recorded, and trying to remember to put on here, which I added some stuff, but I think we're in a simulation. I think the simulation isn't. I think, as I mentioned, I think the higher intelligent life, like aliens, are able to manipulate the simulation, because they are not bounded by the simulation, because they are bounded to reality. Well, we are bounded to the simulation, because we are not in reality. So, you know how the spaceships, now our planes are limited in how we move, and whereas in a UFO could just maneuver how they like from left, right, 360 and all that stuff. They're able to be moving effortlessly without no. They it seems like they're breaking the laws of physics, and I think because they're able to tap into either exotic matter or whatever this is, and they're able to they're able to break through the simulation through or use the physics or use that exotic matter. Because when I say that, then there's like a bunch of tree branches that could go off on it. It's like the aliens are able to manipulate the simulation because either they got the exotic matter, either because they are oh shit. Because they're able to either maneuver this simulation because they figure out what is reality and even for some reason they're playing a part in this recall, or the exotic matter is part of the recall, which is helping them to be able to maneuver through the simulation. Not necessarily they're still maybe trapped in the simulation in that, but not in. Because also there's those things like we might be just. They might be trapped. And maybe they're not able. You know, there's how we try to reach the spiritual. People are trying to reach the spiritual world, or we're just trying to see what this is all for. They're probably trying to reach the spiritual world, but they can't figure it out. Even though they're able to figure out the simulation, they're not able to figure out how to get to this spiritual world. So it could be that. Or they could just be playing a part. They're just like, I want to enjoy this for some fucking reason. As I mentioned, it could be just the pleasures of whatever, and you know, or because there's so many things. Because once you break out to one, there could be another branch. Okay, I'm gonna go to the religion one. I'm gonna follow that one. Basically, if you go to they, as I said, they're trapped inside this, whatever this is, this universe, however you want to perceive it, this universe, either it's God or is it just the universe as a, map, like these bunch of atoms and materials that creates the universe, dark matter and all that stuff. That's religion, we are trapped in this place of this whatever to live this hell over life to eventually go to the spiritual world. And then so I'm going to do that religion part. Basically, so they're trapped in here, just like the rest of us, trying to get to the spiritual world. They're able to break the simulation and maneuver through that, but they probably still find reasons or whatever the case may be to be in that. But they're still trying to figure out how to get to the soul realm, and maybe the idea of being a good person is not really the idea they would want to go by. Maybe they just say, fuck it, we're just gonna roam around this place. Or they're trying to figure it out in a way they found out the simulation, figure out how to break the simulation, and they're trying to figure out how to break through the soul vehicle. Or you could go to, what was I thinking? Okay, so they're going to do that, or they could just be, damn. Okay. You could just go to the scientific thing. To figure out souls and consciousness is a thing, and the simulation is a paint job over it. And they broke it, and now they're just trying to figure out basically the same thing. They're just trying to figure out what the fuck this is all about and how to get to that point of fully understanding how this all happened. Is it the religion fact? Is it religion? Is it as simple as the Big Bang? Is it something else beyond that? Whatever that could be. But I think I'm just going to several theories about the simulation. How it's not really a simulation, but it's just a paint job over the reality, and how we perceive it is how we perceive it. And who makes that perception is our brain, and who's consciousness, and then what's conscious or soul, conscious or soul, and why did they surface? Why did they paint the way they painted it? Is it just God trying to like, hey, we're gonna try this thing out and see how it goes, or is it like you're punished, so you're over here, or is it the exotic matter being just? Is it something that's just? Is it that? Is it the make? It's like is it how we perceive things, and basically that's the brain saying, oh, we want to paint the soul, or the wake up just say we want to paint this reality like this. When in reality, our reality is a bunch of atoms and matters and stuff like that, and it isn't. It's dull as hell, and not as pretty as it is like right now as we see with our own two eyes. But I think the whole point is simulation of what we think is our reality is a simulation, and we can manipulate that. What our reality is our souls and consciousness. That's the true reality, and whatever creates those things, that is the matter, and we painted it over with the simulation, and I believe we could manipulate it by going through walls, by changing like with the like magic, changing things. However, like with the snap of a finger, I could change my computer to a banana, or my mouse pad into a pizza. You know, I'm saying we could do that with the snap of a finger. Once we figure out how to control that, either maybe the exotic matter or whatever layers the matrix. No layers, whatever creates the simulation, whatever matter that is that creates the simulation, we're able to manipulate it. But we aren't aware how to, unlike the aliens who are able to go through walls or fairy tales where fairies disappear or vanish from sight and stuff like that, where they can able to manipulate the reality because they tapped into something and stuff like that, or you could see UFOs define physics, and how are they able to move it like so freely while what governs our laws of physics, what governs our physics and stuff like that. Either way, that's it, because it's going to be 30 minutes and it's going to cut off my thing at any moment, so I'm going to just say that that's what I think. I was watching that and I thought our simulation could be manipulated, and that's why, through the exotic matter. And I'm not saying we're in a simulation, I'm just saying that's what paints our reality, is the simulation. What paints our reality is the simulation. Our reality is painted over by the simulation. That's it. Hopefully this gets my whole voice. Hopefully it captures my voice, because I can't do it again. Okay, bye.